Welcome to the After Party Hangover. I'm your host, Mangria Fueled, and this is a show that talks about a show that talks about a show. Today's guest, the man who tells us all what day it is and why it needs to be recognized. He has been on The Hangover, a Wednesday review show, and famously was the man who interviewed the man Gria on episode 35. He's the Coors drinking lawnmower man who just might be the busiest man in America. Please welcome back the mega pounder misfit, Matthewjh138.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. What an introduction.
So, how's it going?
Oh, it's been crazy. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I can count on one hand how many days off I've had in the past 4 months.
Wow, that coincides with the first question I asked my guest now, because I have a new line of questions that's different from the first time you appeared, which was November 23rd, 2019, BC, before COVID, back in the normal times.
Good old days.
First question is, how has COVID affected your life? Because you told me that you are in high demand. Can you tell the listeners why you are perhaps the busiest man in America?
Yes. As a job, I am a production group leader, like shift lead, like a supervisor on overnights. That's why I'm always active in the middle of the night. Usually only talking to you because you're California. For a fragrance and flavors house. I run the fragrance side. But we do fragrances for all things of perfume, soap, cleaners. So when COVID hit, Clorox, Dial, all those soaps, all those cleaners was in high demand. And now that things are kind of getting back to whatever, and you can buy Clorox again on the shelves, all the perfumes and all that stuff that hasn't been done in months, it's backlogged. So that's why it's nonstop. We're like a week behind schedule. It's insane.
Jeez.
It's disgusting. We work all weekend. I was supposed to work tonight, but my boss told me, he goes, my manager is going to be off the next 2 weeks. He goes, you're going to be on your own for the next 2.5 weeks, so take off tonight.
Wow.
That's the only reason why I have off today.
How are your working conditions? You know, with the PPE now, you got to wear the mask. Do you guys have to wear gloves as well?
Well, we always have to wear gloves.
Yeah.
Just because we work with chemicals and fragrant oils and solvents, it's always just best to wear gloves. Always have to wear splash guard glasses. Wow. The only thing different really is literally I can walk people out the door for wearing their masks wrong.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's very strict. You know, customers want to see that we are following all health rules. So they'll pop in. So everybody's got to have their masks on all times. So I wear a mask 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Do you want to see how people in my town wear masks?
Sure. Yep,
this
exactly.
Is how they wear their masks around town.
Exactly. And, I have 3 kids, and one of my youngest, my daughter, she turns 1 next week. And just the way COVID hit, you're not supposed to take a newborn out for the first 3 months because of, she doesn't have her shots and stuff. Then COVID hit, so she has not left the house. Today we finally took her pumpkin picking, and I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, Jesus, come on, man. And it's like, nobody's wearing anything. So it was being extra protective today. But
was she able to have her mask on? Did she fiddle with it?
Well, in New Jersey, under 2, you don't wear a mask.
Oh, okay.
And since she's an infant, we had her, we were fine. I had my wife and my sister-in-law with me.
Yeah, I was curious. I mean, how do the youngest kids? Because I work at a school, and it goes down to kindergarten, and there is no way in hell a kindergartner is going to wear a mask for 8 hours. There's just no way.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old in preschool and a 7-year-old who's in 2nd grade now, and they both have to wear. They're required to wear masks, and they do all day. The preschool is only 3 hours, but the other one, he wears a mask all day, which is surprising to me. But You
Well,
can't get him to keep his clothes on when he comes in the house, but he wears a mask all day.
another question I had about your job is, do you got to take
Yeah.
precautions like for us at our job, they have that little temperature gun. They point it at your forehead when you walk in.
Yep.
And you have to take a survey on your phone. So have you been in contact with anybody with corona and all that jazz?
We don't do a survey on the phone, but we do a written survey. We do take a temperature, and that's because like for us, we have a nurse.
Yeah.
They're there like 20 hours a day. So there is that lag point before 5 o'clock. From midnight to 5 o'clock, there is no nurse. And if anybody comes in for overtime, we automatically turn off their key badges, so they can't get into the building until they call me, and I got to go out and scan them, survey them until 5 o'clock when a nurse comes back in.
Wow.
But we're getting, I think, in the next couple of weeks, a full body scan where you walk to like, I guess like an airport. I don't know. That's what they say.
Wow.
Like an airport.
That's some high-tech Total Recall shit right there.
Oh, I guess. I don't know.
Well, hey, I know
Sure,
you didn't. I know you didn't want to come on here to talk about work, so let's get on to some funny subjects. Well, the next line of questioning, it's a big one. It's kind of deep. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
I've been listening to the past podcasts, and I have been thinking, I'm like, man, I got to really think about this, and I never did.
It's a deep question because it's hard to just pick 4 of all time.
4 all time, I'm going to have to say Jericho, but George Washington has to be Andre the Giant.
Okay.
I love Andre the Giant. I know he's old school and all that stuff, but I mean, he was the original big guy. He was the original Mega Pounder.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Oof. I'm trying to think of all the years who's really Christian.
Oh, wow.
Definitely Christian. Oh yeah, Christian. Christian's underrated. He's better than Edge. It's just that I don't know. He didn't have the look, I guess.
I guess not. He wasn't all roided up or whatever.
Yeah, and Hogan. It's got to be Hogan.
Okay, yeah. Hogan does find his place on a lot of Mount Rushmore. It's totally understandable. I mean, he brought the wrestling, into mainstream back in the '80s. So of course he has his place on that Mount Rushmore. So I completely agree.
Can I take Hogan off?
No.
Mr. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Oh, Kurt Hennig. All right.
I forgot about that one.
That's a good one. As a matter of fact, him and Bret Hart had one of my favorite matches of all time at SummerSlam.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, I love that match.
That's even for your New Year resolution. I did the Mr. Perfect thing.
Yeah,
I tried to anyways.
That was a funny video, man. What was the last movie you watched?
In full?
Yeah.
Blair Witch Part 2. The Book of Shadows. The bad one. The bad sequel.
Oh my God, that was like one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
It was awful, but I feel that the Blair Witch Project was probably the scariest movie ever made.
I was just going to ask you that. That's the next question.
Yeah. That is, when that came out, what was that, 1999, 2000, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
The internet wasn't as what it is, and they made you believe that was real. And I remember going to see that movie, then the next week going to my aunt's house, and she lived in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. And you drive through Burkittsville, Maryland.
Oh, wow.
And there was cars all over the side of the road and everything, going through all the woods and everything. I remember thinking, holy crap, look at that.
Bunch of lunatics.
The only thing scarier than the original is the remake one. That's a good one, too.
I haven't seen it yet. It's pretty good?
It's a direct sequel of the first one.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the guy's looking for his sister, who was the girl in the movie.
Yeah.
And he finds found footage on the deep web and stuff, and he goes, and I like it. It gives me chills. I can't think of anything scarier than being lost in the woods with no lights.
The first movie that you're talking about, the scariest part of that movie for me, there's actually 2 for me. One is when they're in the tent and they keep hearing noises, and then all of a sudden you see the hands all over shaking the whole tent. That was freaky as hell. And then at the end, spoiler alert, when the dude is facing the wall, she looks at him, she goes, "What's wrong with you?" That was pretty freaky. But that is one of the all-time classics in horror.
You can't tell me you walk down into an old basement and you don't think you're going to see somebody standing in the corner.
Well, The Conjuring kind of ruined me for basements because the whole keeping the exorcism in the basement, the bitch floating in the chair.
I've never seen that movie.
Well, if you do,
I really got to catch up.
it's a lot of movies in a series, but of course the first one is always the best. Like for me, Paranormal Activity, I've already said it scares the shit out of me,
Yeah.
but the sequels are awful. The
What,
first,
Paranormal 4 isn't good?
oh my god, they don't start getting great until part 6. No, the original one is always the best, of course. But yeah, that was my next question. Was your favorite scary movie? It's two birds with one stone. Are you a Halloween person? Do you like Halloween season?
Oh yeah. I got all my tattoos are Halloween tattoos. So I got the Frankenstein's monster. Let's see. I got, well, I don't know if you can see. No. I got like the comedy tragedy masks, but it's jack-o'-lanterns, tons of skulls, a witch, a bunch of different things.
Well, I'm an October baby, so I've always been when it's October 1st, that's when like something in my brain clicks and I'm in a better mood already. It's supposed to be getting cooler, but it's fucking still hot outside. It's like 96 degrees today, but it's October, so I deal with it. Every year on my birthday, we always do something special. Like last year, we went to Vegas for Halloween, and so this year, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll think of something. But we're always here to pass out the candy. I love October. What was your go-to costume for Halloween when you were growing up?
Well, I was something different every year until I got older.
Yeah.
When I got older, I just didn't care. I just always wore the same mask.
Yeah.
But it was a bank robber mask. But it was so old and dirty, it looked like O.J. Simpson. He had like the blue beanie hat on, and he had like the cut on his eye. Mm-hmm. That was great. I love that mask. I wish I could find it. But probably my favorite one was probably Freddy Krueger when I was like 8.
Oh, really? Did you have the mask and everything? The burnt face?
I had the mask, but that year when I had it, that was like my best haul of candy ever because it rained. So like I had to keep changing flannel shirts and everything, but that was a good time.
What's your favorite trick-or-treat candy? When you got it, you were like, all right, yeah.
Snickers.
Snickers?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the only freak in America who loves candy corn. Kind of shows my age there. Yeah, I like candy corn. I like the Laffy Taffy. Laffy Taffy's always my favorite too. I like that shit.
I feel like it's gonna pull my caps out.
And as for me, my go-to costume, of course, was always Jason Voorhees. I had the hockey mask, and when I grew up, I had the actor who played Jason autograph it. So I'm a forever Jason fan since I was a little kid. So.
Which one, Kane Hodder?
Yeah, Kane Hodder. He was at a Party City here in Fresno, and he had a machete, like a fake machete, so he held it to my neck, and I was holding his mask, and we took a picture. It was pretty fun.
He did a really bad B movie with Robert Englund once. It was good and bad all at the same time. I can't remember the name of it.
Did you say
I remember thinking like we got Jason and Freddy. What?
Did you say gay movie?
No, B horror movie, like a bad B horror movie.
I was like, they did a gay porn? What the fuck?
Nah. Although I'd probably buy it, but still, yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta at least watch it once, like Zanka and Lars.
Yeah, I can't find that. I don't know where he found that. I can't find it. It's not on Pornhub.
I don't think you want to find it. Alrighty, well now it's time to dive into SRAP episode 128, opporpoonity. Within the first 2 minutes, Zanka brings up death and midgets. That's a token Zanka right there. Have you ever been a pallbearer?
A few times, yes, I have. I guess it's just my size. I'm always a pallbearer in these things. So, and yes, caskets are freaking heavy.
Oh yeah. Just last couple years ago, my grandma, she was only 4 foot nothing, and I was a pallbearer. There was only 4 of us, and my uncle was holding the casket in front of me, and I was behind him. Well, his hand was hovering on the handle, so I was doing all the heavy lifting in the back. I'm like, oh my God, this is heavy. But
when my grandfather passed, it was the same thing. We had a funeral, and the casket was empty because he was cremated. But I mean, it was heavy, and they stick me on the side of my cousin. My cousin at the time, he was like 10. I'm like, oh great, now I got all the weight on this thing. I was like, they're videotaping it. I remember they sent me videos of it like years later. I'm like, look at me, I'm like struggling with 2 hands with this thing.
Do you think it's weird when people take pictures of the body? Like my aunt was taking pictures of my grandpa all laying in the casket dead, and it was just, I was like, that's a little macabre. Can you not do that?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit inappropriate. I mean, at least it wasn't selfies like click with it or nothing, you know.
Doing the duck face and the peace sign.
Twerking in front of it. But no, I was never a thing with that. I haven't been to a funeral, and actually, no, never mind. I went to one last year. I forgot all about. So yeah, I don't agree with any of that stuff. I very rarely do you ever even see me go up to the casket.
I told my wife as soon as I die, just burn me and put me in a pickle jar. I don't want to be a fuss to anybody.
Well, you know, have a party in my honor. I don't need anybody crying.
Oh yeah, he was wondering how many pallbearers do you need for a midget funeral. You got to imagine, even if the midget wasn't heavy, the casket's going to be heavy enough. You'd at least need 4.
Like I'm telling you, I had my grandfather's, it was empty because he was cremated. We did this thing where it was in Maryland, the service, but then we had to get into a thing, and we drove to D.C. because he was buried in Arlington Cemetery. We had like a military train. That casket was light, or that casket was empty, but that was not light. We had 6 pallbearers, and that was heavy. So.
You know, I'm having some flashbacks to past hangovers, and I feel like I've brought up Zanka talking about funerals on multiple hangovers.
Well, he's talked about funerals and midgets on multiple hangovers. So,
oh yeah, that's his thing. If there's a porn with midgets having sex at a mortuary, I think he would be the first person to pre-order that.
See, and there you go. Here's a little insight on me is. Years ago, before I got married, I used to have big Halloween parties, like anywhere between 30 and 60 people. And I used to set up in the living room. I'd put on the TV. I would either put on, I forget what it was called, like Midget Mania. It was like a Bridget the Midget porno. And I put it on. Okay. And I always remember the guy who comes into the hotel, he throws his suitcase on, opens it up, and boom, Bridget the Midget comes out of the dominatrix outfit. I was like, all right.
Did you hear about the trouble she got in? She was arrested last year.
Oh, jeez.
She attacked her boyfriend or something. Talk about freaky. It'd be like a Chucky doll attacking your ass.
Yeah. You couldn't like kick it away or something.
All you would need is a stick. You just keep her at distance with a stick.
I'm 6'5". I got long arms. So I could just put my hand on her head.
Well, after the hot midget and funeral talk, they got into talking about RVD is now a free agent. He has gone from Impact, and his woman has a big ass, which would have been the name of this week's episode had it not been for my Facebook question. I gotta pat myself on the back for that, for Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose's new tag team name, Opporpoonity.
Yes. Congratulations.
That's right.
It is nice when you realize you can mold the show a little bit.
That's right. I'm going to put it on my next resume. For the Chop Shop, the answers to the question were Adam Rose, the name of his finisher, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who Ed Gein, I guess, inspired, and Meatloaf's real name. Did you know the answers to any of those questions?
I did not know the answer to the Adam Rose one. Yeah,
me neither. He stumped me on all of them.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's only half true. Hannibal Lecter is modeled by Ed Gein, and so is Norman Bates.
Oh, wow. He inspired that much sickness, huh?
Because Ed Gein used to make his thing was he wasn't really a serial killer. He only killed 2 people, but he was a grave robber, and he would create. If you ever want to see something crazy, look up Ed Gein's house. What they found, he made like a belt out of nipples. He made a full bodysuit like like Buffalo Bill did. And
Jesus, put the lotion in the basket.
Exactly. That is a direct Ed Gein take from that as well.
My
Texas
God.
Chainsaw Massacre, yes, because he had the leather face, the same thing. Ed Gein made it a mom suit.
Of course, Peter Wayne
no
Kent
face.
would bring that shit up. He's probably
Of course,
has
I'm
the
sure he was
entire
yelling
life
at his phone
story.
the whole time.
He probably has Ed Gein's life story on Blu-ray or something.
Possibly. And the Meatloaf one, I absolutely did know because I'm halfway through reading the biography. And a question I did months ago as like one of your, I always ask, like, I almost never ask wrestling questions, is the favorite concerts. And as I said, one of my favorite ones all time, hands down, 2007, Bat Out of Hell 3 tour, Meatloaf. I was in freaking tears. It was amazing. 3 hours of freaking glory.
So do you judge people like they do? Like, do you say, when I say Meatloaf, what do you think of? Do you ask people that?
I think of the band.
Yeah.
Always. And it's creepy. Jake putting ketchup on it, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Put barbecue sauce on it, makes it better.
Yeah, that's pretty. Jake's palate is a very confusing palate. His ears are probably burning right now of him sitting in the bathtub eating cappuccino ice cream. Also, Facebook Sean broke Jake with the enormous story he had him read. You could tell in Jake's voice he was furious, and then Jake confirmed it in the chat on Instagram.
See, that's the Hall of Fame chat?
Well, I believe
I'm not
it
in
might
that
be
one.
the APPW one.
I don't remember. I always skip his question. No offense to the guy, but they're so long. I lose interest and then I get sidetracked, and then I never know what's going on.
Luckily,
I like the deal because, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I said I like the deal because I always skip through it to the end, and they always act like they're so exhausted from it. So
Well,
maybe he needs the blue blocker glasses for reading it on his phone.
I guess so. Luckily, I'm at work, so I don't mind the super long question. Like, I try to follow along, and then I'm thinking, is Zanka actually paying attention to this? Because it's a very long question, and he has ADD, so I'm always curious if he pays attention to it or not. But Facebook Sean is a teacher, so he knows how to write, and he just comes up with all these weird fucking stories to put in there, and it's funny to me, but it broke Jake. And luckily, my question was asked before he read Sean's. He still had patience when he did my Trump request.
I remember hearing that.
Danka hates Bert Kreischer. Do you know who Bert Kreischer is?
No idea.
He's a dude. He's a fat dude who never wears a shirt. He's a comedian, and he has this really annoying laugh. Like, he laughs at his own jokes.
I remember him saying that. Yeah.
He laughs at his own jokes constantly, and it's a really high-pitched laugh. Sometimes it's contagious because I've heard Bert Kreischer on Doug Loves Movies, a podcast about movies, and a game show. He's kind of funny, but yeah, it would be exhausting to be Bert's friend if he just laughs constantly at his own shit.
That came from my question of the National Podcast Day. That was part of in the answer, anyways, as he was dressing Jake for his choice. But he also said he didn't like the days thing.
The what?
Who gives? He also said he didn't like how everything is a day.
Oh yeah, that's like your whole gimmick, man. He shit all over.
I know, right? like two months ago, he was like, "Oh, I like this. Oh, this is great." Yeah. He always reminds me. Now, what's with the flip?
He goes, "I like this guy. He always lets us know what day it is."
Yeah. Now this. The fuck? What did I do?
You just reminded me. What is today? Let me see.
Oh, jeez, I don't even know. I didn't look up.
Saturday. Forget it. Well, I'll look it up later. They reviewed Monday Night Raw, and they did not like it.
I didn't even watch it. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched a bit of wrestling, and last thing I watched was Survivor Series.
Oh, wow.
I don't even have time. I don't have time.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what I always say. I go, you guys should really start listening to Still Real After Party because that's how I get all my information. I love telling Zanka that. I'll tell him that I tell him that privately every once in a while when he puts on the memes or something like that. You should really listen to the after party because they have some really good information.
I bet
I
you
never have a chance to listen.
when you listen to this week's SRAP, you're like, thank God I don't watch wrestling because of how bad it was.
Yeah, I actually I usually get it. It comes out onto my phone at usually 6 o'clock on
Oh,
Tuesdays when it does come out. And usually I leave for work 6:30, between 6:30 and 8:30. So I listen to it that night.
yeah.
And I had to actually go back and re-listen to it after you had asked me to come on here. I was like, oh man, I got to make sure I paid attention, didn't miss anything or something like that. So I actually listened to it twice this week. It's rare.
Yeah.
I usually don't. I get bored with things, so I don't like to listen to things multiple times.
Every time they come out with an episode, I listen to it 3 times and I take all the notes down so I can talk about it on the hangover. But after they shit all over Raw, rightfully so, we fast forward to the conclusion of the Betty Brawl Crum-Offs. Matthewjh, Mae Young won the Betty Brawl Crum-Offs. But my question to you, if you could have sex with a woman over 70, who would you choose, or would you choose death?
Over 70. I don't even know anybody who's over 70. I don't know what the fascination with Betty White is. That's Jake seems to be hard up on that one, but let's see. I'll go with Jane Fonda.
Jane
I don't know how
Fonda?
old she is. She's up there. Yeah, sure, why not?
Wow, she's over 70?
I think she's actually in her 80s.
Whoa.
My wife was just watching a show one day, and I'm like, who is this girl? Because her face looks like she's 30, but her neck looks like she's 105. So, and in her hands. So,
Yeah.
it's like the Crypt Keeper.
Well, speaking of Crypt Keeper, I would choose Helen Mirren. She's got
I
the
had to look up
accent.
who that was, too.
She has an accent. She
Mhm.
does have a banging bod for the clothes that she wears. I'm pretty sure everything's wrinkled and liver spotted. But if I had a gun to my head and they said, you better pick someone or we're going to kill you, I'll be like, Helen Mirren. Because, I mean, Betty White, if you get 2 pumps in, you're going to break all of her bones. So
So she's like 90-something now.
98?
Turn the lights off.
96,
like that.
98? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Well, Matthewjh, we did it. We caught up with you. We got to know your Mount Rushmore, the movies. You're a Halloween fan. Do you have anything you want to say before we let you go? Any plugs? Do you want to plug some bands that the guys didn't really recognize when you mentioned them?
Oh yeah, well, hey, I gotta say, Zanka really impressed me with that one. He said, although I did say crossover hardcore metal, that is a term. I know Jake, that went over Jake's head. That's a term when like hardcore music became more metal, like a lot faster. Like that's like what influenced like Slayer and stuff like that. So when I said that, and I gave suggestions of like what's your favorite like crossover hardcore metal band from Brooklyn or whatever like that. That's just because I created a new Instagram account, and so I was watching The Office all the time, and I made that name. And they always make a thing like he gets into like Trans Am or his Camaro, and he always has Life of Agony playing, which is like one of me and my friend. He's actually sitting right here. That's like our band. Like that's how we relate because like it speaks to us. So the fact that Zanka even said, he goes, I don't know if they're from Brooklyn, Queens, but Agnostic Front and Madball, that's my childhood right there.
Wow, so that must have blew your mind.
I didn't know anybody knows what Madball is. Madball is amazing. If I listen to Madball Set It Off album, thank me later.
I asked you what you wanted your theme song to be in APPW. I asked you what your favorite Misfit songs were, and you gave me 2. You said, yes. We Are the 138, because that's how you got your Instagram name. But there was another song you named. What was the
Hybrid
second?
Moments.
That song that you just said is a part of the WWE 2K20 soundtrack. So I've heard that song 4,000 times.
It's so good. It's also during the ending credits of Jackass.
Yeah, I mean,
when they're going through the golf course.
That song is burned into my brain, and forever on out now, when I hear that song, It's going to take me back to when I'm making you guys an APPW on the creative character screen. That's what's going to come into my head every time now.
Oh, don't get me on a misfit tangent. I get it gets crazy. I can go for hours on it. So I bore the shit out of people in my family with that.
Well, as far as my plugs, major announcement next week. The tripod sessions returned. It'll be the after party hangover tripod sessions with Cesar and Bretsky. We are moving to Zoom, so now you can see our fat, ugly faces whenever we spew all the garbage we talk about on wrestling. And as well, the social media mayhem for APPW has been completed. I am still in the process of editing it and putting it all together. I'm pretty proud of this one. It's a good one. The quality might be shit, but hey, it's going to be entertaining. At least watch your match. Mega Pounder Inc. versus Gaviti Adidas for the APPW Tag Team Championships in an Extreme Rules match with a Z.
Yes. I hope my promo was good. I hope it's well received. I thought of it on the fly.
It was funny, dude. I'm grateful that you sent it. Zank Chris must have been busy or something, but we do have a Zanka promo. So it'll be you
Perfect.
first, and then it'll be Zanka next, and then the match will begin.
I tried to hone in on what Zanka would say, so that's why I did what I did. I normally would never feel myself doing that. So.
The middle finger was a nice touch.
Yes, that's exactly it. I would never have done that, but I was like, Zanka's probably going to do something where he's going to call me an idiot or retarded or something. So I'm like, fuck you. And yes, I chugged the whole beer that time. That was really fast.
Nice. So. Nice. Was it an immediate buzz?
Real quick. It was really cold because it was also 7 o'clock in the morning. But yeah. So,
hey, day drinking is underrated.
I had just gotten off of work, so day drinking to me is after work beers. So
there you go, man. That's the only way to end the day.
By noontime, if you hit me right when I'm doing work around the house, by noontime I am freaking lit on Jack and Cokes before I go to bed. Waking up with a hangover at 5 o'clock at night.
Spoken like a true mega pounder. Respect.
Exactly.
Respect.
Thank you. And thank you for everything that you do too. Like I said, the hardest working man in the business.
Well, hey man, you have no idea how much I appreciate you giving me your time for this interview. From episode 50 to episode 59, I've had most of the Hall of Famers come back, catch up with them on their life and what they think of wrestling nowadays.
I'm not a Hall of Famer.
You're not?
I'm not a Hall of No. I'm the first honorable mention.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what?
I wasn't there long enough. I was heartbroken.
I will for sure personally endorse Matthewjh138. The Mega Pounder Misfit will be the first name in the next class of the SRAP Hall of Fame. I'm
also trying to get my name back, too, on Instagram. I had to switch some things around with some fuck shit, so that's why it is what it is right now. I think what does it say? It's like, it says like Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
But then I switch it to Matthew something, or I'm working on it because I'm switching from one account to another. I'm just waiting for that account to deactivate because it like makes you wait 2 weeks so I could take the name again.
Well, look at Matthewjh using a fuck shit line. That's how you know he's a part of the SRAP army.
Yeah. That has been my line for the past 3 weeks. Everything is fuck shit. So.
Hashtag fuck shit, of course, in 2020.
Exactly. Of course.
Well, once again, my friend, thank you so much. Thank you to the Mighty 20 who watch this every week. I'm talking to you, Peter Wayne Kent. I know you're listening. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, all hail Linda's Bush.